Hey, how you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Big Frog's 4x4. I'm just heading home from work today, and for the first time, my check engine light just came on in my truck. We have just under 54,000 miles on the Duramax ZR2. 53,996 currently. Came on about 2 miles before I got home. Just normal driving, nothing crazy, wasn't on the accelerator. It just ding, going down the road about 45 miles an hour. So we're about to pull up to the garage here shortly, and I'm gonna scan the codes and we'll see what the codes are and see if it's gonna be under warranty or not. So I'm gonna be using the autel Maxicom MK808. It's a great scan tool. It doesn't do everything that really expensive ones do, but for its price point, your OBD port is right down here at the corner. Trying to record and plug it in at the same time. Okay, swipe to the side to unlock. Went diagnostic, General Motors. To auto, to read. There's your VIN. Hit OK. Is that correct? Yes. You're the 2.8. Well, I'm not sure what the radio code is, but we're not really scanning for radio anyway, so I'm just going to select one. I just need to know what the check engine light is. Diagnostic, auto scan. You see, usually it's pretty fast, especially with a newer vehicle. Everything communicates a lot faster. Alright, let's check out the engine faults. Trouble codes. So the other day when we started this up, it was 17 degrees, and turned the key, let it warm for a second like we normally do, then fired it up, and it made a weird tinging noise, like a metal ting noise. Hasn't done it since, never did it before. Thought that was odd. And here you can see the code is particulate matter sensor temperature circuit high voltage. So I'll have to research, look that up, and see what that is. Today I have to replace the diesel particulate matter filter back here on the back of your exhaust. It's on your passenger side at the bend right by your shock. Now, these are a lot like oxygen sensors, except they're not the same socket size as an oxygen sensor. It's actually either 23 millimeter or 15/16. I've tried heating this with a torch. This still will not break free. So if yours doesn't come free, if it doesn't come out of the exhaust, by even heating it, you may have to cut this off and put a 6-point socket on there to try to break it free. Because right now, without any other attachments that I have, no other line wrenches that are 15/16 or 23 millimeter, the wrench I keep putting on just wants to start slipping. I've tried a couple of different wrenches. They all want to do the same thing. And you can only get on with a long extension coming off the driver's side, because the shock on one side, you have all the different things in the way, like all this. You can only get on one area right here. So I'm going to try cutting the wire off and put an impact socket over it and see if we can break it free that way. Now before you cut those wires, make sure you unplug the sensor so that when you cut them, you don't short any of the wires out. Your sensor here is on the frame. It has a little safety clip right here, which unfortunately mine broke off. Went to pop it out and it broke. but it popped out just enough for me to still be able to push the button and release it. I believe they're 10mm bolts to hold this on. The wire runs up around, it comes around, and obviously right there's where the wire used to go on the sensor. So I cut that off. I'm going to try to get an impact on there, an impact socket and a ratchet. Alright, I wanted to explain to you what just transpired trying to get this sensor out. As you might be able to see, I'm not sure if it's going to show up on the camera or not, trying to get this out with a wrench, because it slips over and turns, it's not solid like an oxygen sensor. This actually turns on the sensor itself. This is supposed to go around and this would stay stationary. It actually warped and bent the nut itself, which actually made it tighter in the hole, but then I couldn't get anything else on it. Even after I cut this off, I couldn't get a socket, a 15/16 socket over this, or a 23mm. I ended up going up to a 1-inch socket, impact socket, 6-point socket, and a long 1/2-inch ratchet, and it was able to slide over, catch the edges enough, just enough to break it free and screw it out. None of my sockets were long enough, deep enough. None of my sockets were deep enough with just cutting the wire off, so I had to cut the sensor off itself. I was able to get a cordless 4.5-inch grinder up in there and cut that off. Make sure that you wear safety protection, like on your gloves, cover your arms, cover your eyes, your face, because as you can see, if you go to cut this off, not only are you going to have metal, but you're also going to have ceramic pieces, or it looks like ceramics, come flying out at you, and you don't want little pieces of that in your eyes or anywhere else or make you itchy. So now that that's off, and you can see how oblong it is now, now we have to go underneath and unbolt the rest of the sensor, get those 2 bolts out, and get this one installed. When removing the old sensor, there's 2 of these clips for the wire up here on your cross frame tube. They're just a little simple, flip this up and unlatches, then bring it back over to reattach and make sure it snaps back into place. Make sure you plug your plug all the way in till it clicks. Your 10mm bolts to hold this box in. Make sure that you only just gently snug them up. You don't want to break the plastic and over tighten that. And also, down here on your sensor, do not over tighten this, because like you saw taking it out, you can bend and warp this. So you just want to screw this down just to where it's snug. You bring it down, snug, and that's it. Do not over tighten this. Plus, when you have to replace this again, it'll make it a lot easier to replace it if you don't over tighten it. I tried to figure out what all the 5 wires on that sensor were so I could figure out and test voltages, but I couldn't find any. Couldn't find any information at all. So if any of the GM guys out there know what color wire is what voltage and what the test for that sensor, please let me know in the comments below. So what I did was I found one online, found one on Amazon actually for $197. Once I got the new sensor, I unplugged the old sensor and plugged in the new sensor. I didn't install it into the exhaust. I just plugged them in. And once I did that, I reset the code, started the engine, check engine light stayed out. Plugged the old sensor back in, turned the key on, and as soon as you turn the key on and fire it up, the check engine light would come on. So I knew the sensor was bad. Now when replacing this, you should probably technically disconnect the battery, put a battery saver in, and that way you don't have any of this other stuff come up. Like it was unplugged, so it lost communication. The problem with the original code was this one right here. P1478 was the original code. Now this is because it was unplugged and I never disconnected the battery. So this is the original code. Something inside that sensor was bad and giving it a high voltage reading. We're going to clear codes. Yes. No codes. Now before, with the old sensor, as soon as I fired the truck up, the check engine light will come on and stay on as soon as you start the truck. Now the new sensor's installed. Turn the key off. Back on. There you go, check engine light stays out. Now I'm going to have to drive this a few days just to make sure that that's the issue, but I'm almost positive that's it, because as soon as I had plugged the original factory sensor back in, the check engine light was on. And that's how you address the code 1478 in your Colorado ZR2 or Colorados or Canyons with the 2.8 liter Duramax engine. Thanks for watching Big Frog's 4x4. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell as you want notified as each video they come out. And as always, God bless.